Hi, everybody. Welcome to Big Blue Kickoff Live on this Thursday afternoon, presented by Cadillac, the official luxury vehicle of the Giants. Sorry for starting 5 minutes late. That's on me. I had to finish my written practice report, which I was up against. It's been a manic day here. The first couple of days of camp are always rough, but that's in. That'll get posted up soon enough. But we're with you. Brought to you by Cadillac, the official luxury vehicle of the Giants. Schmeelk, Dottino with you. We're taking your calls at 201-939-4513. 201-939-4513. Our buddy Pearson will keep an eye on those YouTube comments. We'll get those out, and we will rock and roll with those as well. What I was about to say while the Open was playing is that, you know, there are reports out there that NFL Network might at some point soon be shifted off to ESPN. That has been kind of out in the ether. And it just struck me that usually the first couple of days of camp, they have pillar-to-pillar inside training camp live programming, and they're showing some random Chiefs-Texans game from last year. And it just struck me that they're not doing live training camp. That's right. But I think they're doing their Back to Football show on Saturday, if I'm not mistaken. So that'll be fun.
Is there live training camp coverage on any of these channels?
This actually, you know, this is ESPN. I'm pretty sure that no, this is NFL Network. I'm sorry. Oh, they're showing a game that was on ESPN, but it's on NFL Network. They have confused you. They absolutely confused you. No, I don't think there's live training camp coverage anywhere. No. So get it right here from Giants.com and our social media platforms, our video reports, our written reports, Big Blue Kickoff Live, and all that good stuff. Paul.
Hey, John.
It was getting a little toasty today out there, huh?
Not as bad as it's going to be tomorrow.
Yeah, high in 97. I saw. I didn't check the humidity. Did you look at the humidity tomorrow?
Let's just say security told me the heat index tomorrow is going to be 105.
Oh, boy.
Ouch. Ouch, ouch, ouch. A good thing for the players, they're not in full pads yet until Monday.
Shells. It'll be the first day of shells tomorrow. They were only in pads and shorts or rather helmets, shorts, and T-shirts yesterday and today. Practice will increase to 2 hours tomorrow, though with that heat, we'll see if they do it. I was wondering if they might move practice up to the morning, but I have not heard any rumblings of that because of the heat. But
I have not either, and I just saw Dave's outside right before we started. He didn't indicate that.
They're off Saturday anyway, so they'll get a day off Saturday, so they can work them hard tomorrow a little bit. There was some cramping today that a couple of the guys had, but they got no serious injuries. Everything seemed to get worked out just fine. Mm-hmm. But a productive day of practice. I think we saw good and bad from the quarterbacks. Some touchdown passes, a couple interceptions as well. Mm-hmm. It was funny, like Russell Wilson and Jackson Dart had back and forths with two corners. It was Drew Phillips for Russell Wilson. He throws a beautiful over-the-top diving catch touchdown throw to Wan'Dale Robinson to beat Drew Phillips.
Right in front of me in the corner. It was sweet.
And then on the very next play, I believe Wan'Dale Robinson tried to run like a little out from the flat.
And Phillips
got underneath it and picked the pass off from Russell Wilson to Robinson. Then earlier in practice, Dart, which I think was probably the prettiest touchdown throw of the day, a nice back shoulder fade to Jalen Hyatt down the right sideline to beat Trey Hawkins. And then later in practice, he tried a similar throw. I did not have written down who it was. I think it might have been Zach Pascal. I think it was 83. Or am I wrong about that?
You mean the pick?
No, who he was throwing it to on the pick.
Oh, I don't know the intended receiver.
I think it was 83. I didn't have it written down on my notes.
But it was 37 who got him.
Trey Hawkins got his head around on that one, made a nice play in the ball, and picked it off. So it was kind of a back and forth there between two quarterbacks and two corners. The quarterback got the best of him, and then the defensive back got the best of him on the next play.
I'm glad you mentioned Dart's touchdown pass to Hyatt down the right sideline.
Oh, that was such a Paul Dottino touchdown. I knew you. As soon as I saw him, I'm like, Paul's going to like that one.
Yes, it was. It was so sweet. And the way his touch on that ball was so nice. And it looked like a Russell Wilson throw.
That's a throw that was very much in the Ole Miss playbook.
Yes.
He threw a lot of back shoulders at Ole Miss. We saw a bunch of those in the spring from him. So that is something that he is certainly comfortable doing.
Yeah, I think, when push comes to shove, as we watch these practices, Wilson's getting the most reps at quarterback. Winston's getting the second most. Dart's getting the third.
You think Winston? I thought Dart was getting more than Winston.
I thought Dart got a few more today, but yesterday it was clear Winston got more.
You thought so?
Well, I thought I didn't have an official count, but I did look at my notes.
Usually it's pretty much 4-4-4 is how they've been working it, depending on how they do. And then Dart got slipped in for a couple first-team reps here or there, so I thought that put him over the top on Winston. Now, I didn't
close.
Now, I didn't count them. So if you were counting them, I'm going to trust your count. That was just my impression from watching.
Here's the problem. You know what I've done on some of the running plays? On some of the running plays, I just logged the runner and I didn't log the quarterback. so my count's inaccurate.
So the throws, there might be more throws for Winston, but more snaps for Dart.
There you go.
I got you.
That's how I got tricked into that. It's possible that,
and by the way,
they're equal.
You could very well be right. I was not counting them one by one.
Well, I've deceived my own count because I didn't write down the quarterback on the running plays.
Just to make it, if there is a difference between the two of them, it is infinitesimally small.
It is.
Yes.
It is. But clearly, DeVito is the fourth quarterback, and he's taking the fewest amount of reps. And, he's obviously with the last members of the depth chart as well. So, for the most part.
Who, DeVito?
Yes.
Yes, he is. Correct.
So it's kind of hard, and I don't want anybody out there to think we're slighting him.
Of course.
But he doesn't get as many reps, doesn't get as many throws.
And by the way, this is why we say
and he's getting lesser guys with him.
So hard to carry four quarterbacks. There just are not, even in training camp, enough snaps
Very
to go
difficult.
around for four quarterbacks. I mean, he's gotten, over the 2 practices, has he thrown more than 8 passes?
My goodness.
It's probably right around there,
I was going
right?
to say maybe 10.
It's right in that neighborhood.
Yeah, it's not a lot.
And again, that's just the nature of the beast. And I'm sure as we move forward, there'll be a practice where they slide him in more and they give him more looks. He's getting some reps in that developmental period at the end of practice, too, along with Dart. So he is getting some extra work there. But overall, look, I think Dart has gotten more with the 2s than with the 3s so far.
Yeah,
it was rotated a bit day 1, but today he was with the 2s most of the time.
A lot.
From what I saw. Again, I'm not tracking every play, folks. I'm just telling you what I see. But look, I think the offense is slowly coming along at this time of the year, and this is the most cliche thing you can ever say. The defense is always further along than the offense early in camp, and we've seen some nice plays on defense. We mentioned the 2 interceptions. Nick Jones had another big day. He had a sack and a pass breakup after a pick 6 yesterday of that dart pass. So, look, he's had a couple nice moments, and they're kind of looking for a backup if they want to keep flat outside. And I think
absolutely you want to.
You need a backup slot.
Yes.
So who's the backup slot? It could be Kayvon Wallace, who just got brought in.
It's wide open.
But Nick Jones has made some plays the first couple of days of practice, and he's been working inside. So I think that's been interesting too.
I don't remember Nick Jones doing anything that stood out during the spring. And that's why these last 2 days for him, in my opinion, have been incredibly significant, because now he's put his name on the radar. I don't know how high on the radar, but it's on the radar now. You can't ignore the fact that he made some plays.
Yep, no, absolutely. I think he's done a nice job. You had potential tackles for loss for Demetrius Flanagan-Foles got in the backfield on one play, Ty Summers on another. Kayvon Thibodeau would have had a sack on one play. Elijah Garcia would have had a sack on another play. They got into the mix. Deonte Banks continues to play very sticky physical coverage.
Him and Adebo have been really good.
Adebo has not been thrown at nearly as much. Banks was complaining in the spring how nobody ever threw his way. They're throwing him in the summer.
Yes, they are.
And there haven't been a lot of completed passes. They have not thrown any flags.
No.
I think he's playing on a fine line. But so far, there's been no flags, and he has not allowed any catches.
We often use the word aggressive.
Yes. He has, they are showing, and again, you can only take so much out of practice.
Yes.
But they are practicing a decent amount of press coverage.
They are. And Adebo and Banks are showing their skill set and their toolbox, as we've known all along since both guys have been in the league. That's what they do very, very well. And that's not a surprise. So, again, we told you before camp started, John and I had this very conversation when a caller said to us, do you think that Shane Bowen is going to play more man-to-man and he's going to blitz more? And we said that we can't tell you for sure until we get a look at practice during training camp, even more than the preseason, which will be vanilla. But our point was he certainly has more tools to do those things if he wants to. And we're seeing some of that right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's 100% correct. And look, we're seeing some good plays from the defense, good plays from the offense. It was a good day for the tight ends, Paul.
Really was.
Greg Dulcich had a couple of touchdown passes. Him and Jameis Winston, I think, have connected on 3 touchdowns now over the course of the first 2 days of practice. In one-on-one drills, Thomas Fidone had an excellent jumping one-handed catch. It was a tremendous play. He's a really good athlete. It's I'm looking forward to seeing how he develops. That was on a pass, I believe, from Jackson Dart. So, and then Daniel Bellinger caught a touchdown over the middle from Russell Wilson. So, I mentioned this with the show with Lance on Tuesday, that I don't see any way they're not keeping 4 tight ends. I don't see how you can put this roster together without keeping 4. So it'll be a battle. can Greg Dulcich figure out a way to force his way onto the roster? That's kind of what I'm keeping an eye on, because I think right now he would be tight end 5 for me. But can he figure out a way to fight his way on and knock somebody else off? I think it's going to be a tough go.
Each of the tight ends has a different area of expertise. We know that. The thing that's making it so difficult is that as we get through the off-season program and now we begin training camp, none of these guys has, I guess the word I'm going to use is fumbled away their opportunities. Right, John? Every time they get a ball thrown to them, these guys have been making the plays they're supposed to make. Nobody is out there making you shake your head and say, uh-oh, that's a demerit. He didn't make a play. That's going to hurt him. It does not happen. Every one of these tight ends is doing exactly what they're supposed to do.
Yeah, they're doing a nice job. I'm with you. Anything else from practice you want to touch on before we move on? By the way, it was a nondescript play, and I didn't even mention this in my practice report. It just jumped in my head. Mm-hmm. There was a play where they handed it to Cam Scadaboo, and I don't know what defender it was, but he got in the backfield. And he had this really sudden cut.
Yeah. He has, on the left side of the offense, was that the one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He has such a low center of gravity. I think that he has short little legs, and I think that has to do with his contact balance, his ability to break tackles, which we talked about coming out of the draft.
Too, John. His vision's really good.
But he's a lot quicker than you think he is. Mm-hmm. He can change directions and make guys miss in a phone booth because of that quick change of direction ability. This running back room is fascinating to me. I talked about, keeping fewer than 4 tight ends. I don't know how you do it. I really want to see how they figure out how to split the snaps and the carries between Tracy, Scadaboo, Singletary. Not to mention Turbo Miller has looked extremely fast in a lot of his opportunities. But I think how they decide to utilize this running back group, and they all caught touchdown passes again today, by the way, in one-on-ones, where it's been fun to watch.
We didn't get a chance to see Scadaboo do anything except with the trainers during the spring session. But here in the first 2 days of practice, we have already seen him run the ball some, but we've seen him a lot in the pass game. And, Matt mentioned it the other day. He's like, folks, don't be surprised. If you looked at his stats at Arizona State, they were not afraid to use him in the pass game. But people just don't talk about it or think about it as much because he's such a ferocious runner.
Well, people always think of receivers as running backs as the fast scat back types.
Yeah.
That's not what he is. He's Scadaboo, but he's not a scat back.
Yeah, exactly. He's Scadaboom is what he is.
Yeah, that's correct.
And,
Bad jokes everywhere.
Really?
How you doing?
Why not? Leave $1 on the way out, please.
Yes.
But seriously,
tip your waitresses.
His ability to produce in the pass game, I think, has been overlooked. It's very underrated. I think people are going to be shocked when they see some of that stuff during the regular season. I just talked to Charles Way for the huddle. I don't know when that'll go up.
Yeah, that might be a couple weeks, but it'll go up.
All right, but I talked to Charles Way about it today. You remember Charles played fullback for this team back in the mid to late 90s. And Charles specifically said, that's the kind of stuff that's going to get him on the field as a rookie.
Well, that's
his ability to do that.
Yeah, and he has to protect, obviously. But I think that goes back
without saying.
To my utilization point. All 3 of these guys can do everything, but their styles are different. So I don't think there's all right, this is our third down back.
No.
I don't think that's what it's going to be.
No.
I think you almost pick, all right, for this series or this set of downs, it's this guy, and he's going to be on the field for every down. Then the next series, all right, maybe the next guy. Then he's going to be on the field for 4 straight plays, and then we go to the next guy. I don't think it's going to, except for maybe short yardage, where I think Scadaboo
and goal line.
Singletary's pretty good at short yardage, though, too, to be honest with you. But I think maybe Scadaboo and short yardage and goal line, that might be one situational specific role. Otherwise, I'm not sure if that's what this is going to look like.
Now, I think as long as Scadaboo proves that he can pick up the blitz, because you don't want him susceptible to getting your quarterback whacked.
And that's why I said in order to use him as a passer, he's got to be able to pass protect.
Correct. Now, that's the one question I still don't know yet, because they haven't been in pads yet, and we haven't seen him tested on picking up a blocker.
I mean, look, I promise you he's going to be willing.
A defender,
he's going to be willing and physical enough to do it.
The man ran at the telephone poles.
The question is whether or not he can figure out the mental part of it.
I think if he's able to properly diagnose the pickups and shows he can do that, the beauty of having him in on the goal line, John, again, let's cite the fact that he ran for 21 touchdowns last season at Arizona State, which is an incredibly high number. You put that guy in when you get down inside the 5-yard line. Everybody's going to be thinking run, and justifiably so. And you know what? Yes, I do want him to power the ball, and you know that. That's a big thing for me, is just ram that ball down somebody's throat across the goal line for 7 points, or 6 points. Wait for the PAT, right? But here's the beauty of him. You could do play action. You run him down there in the backfield. You run play action and flare him out. Who's going to cover? Who's going to stop him?
No, I'm with you. I'm with you. It's interesting. Look, I think it's a fun group of running backs. I think if you're a fantasy football owner of any of those running backs, it's going to be a very frustrating season because it's going to be a different guy every week and you're not going to know who to play. I think that's going to be a big problem for people as they try to set that. I know that's Paul's biggest concern as he thinks about this.
Advice from the anti-fantasy football guy. Just draft Malik Neighbors.
Good advice. Run or walk with Giants legends. The Giants Foundation will host a 5K racing kids run presented by Quest on Sunday, October 26th at 9 a.m. at MetLife Stadium. Their proceeds will benefit the Giants Foundation. All participants will receive a commemorative T-shirt. After the race, stay for a post-race festival with appearances by Giants legends and a live DJ. Register now at giants.com/5K. The Giants Foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit corporation. All right. Let's get to the calls. 201-939-4513. Mac is in Maryland. He's going to be our first caller today. Mac, what's going on?
Good afternoon, guys. I'm good. Thanks for taking the call.
Hey, thanks for calling, man. What do you got?
I got two things. I wanted to talk first about the snaps in the preseason. How do you think it's going to go between particularly Dart and Jameis Winston? Since it came out yesterday that Russ is going to be, QB1, you would expect to see as little as him as possible in the preseason, as you normally do every year with your QB1. So when it comes to evaluating the talent or just seeing how Jameis Winston would operate with this offense, I want to hear you guys talk about that, the Dart versus Winston and the snaps and how you think it's going to play out, and even throw in Tommy in here as well. The second one I'll take off air. I did have a question when I was reading your report yesterday, Schmeelk. You wrote a report and you gave all the highlights of what Russell Wilson did. And when you talked about the interception, you talked about it as you just told us who caught the interception. So I was under the impression that it was actually Russell Wilson.
No, it was Dart. It was Dart yesterday. That was me not being clear enough in my writing. That was my bad.
Okay. Cool. That's all I wanted to know.
No,
I'll take
all good, dude.
First call off the air. Thanks.
No, I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Snaps, huh? That's an interesting call.
It is. It's a very good call, Mac. I appreciate it. And I wanted to ask Russell this, and I haven't had a chance yet. I have not had a chance to talk to him. I just haven't run into him in the hallway at all. But,
he's busy.
Some quarterbacks, even if they're vets, like to play in the preseason.
Yes.
So Russell Wilson in 2021 and 2022 took Fox. Good job, FoxSports.com, with preseason passing stats, by the way. Mm-hmm. So he did not play in the preseason in 21 or 22. His last year in Seattle, his first year in Denver. But the last 2 years, he actually had 10 passing attempts both years in the preseason. So he got out there and he played. So they have 2 games and 2 game starts. So he started 2 games. Not just 1, 2 in his last 2 stops. And I'm sure Brian Dable's talked about this a lot, especially with his veteran players. He will trust them to advise how they want to be using these situations.
I agree with you.
So if Russell Wilson tells Dabes, I want to be in 2 games, he's going to be in 2 games.
Yep.
That's how, at least that would be my guess of how that's going to go. They'll go back and forth. They'll discuss it, I'm sure. So maybe we see Russ for 2 games this year, just because that's what we've seen the last 2 years. And in 18 and 19 for Seattle, he played 3 games in 18 for Seattle, 2 games in 2019 for Seattle. So he's played in preseason. So I do think you are going to have some Russell Wilson snaps. And my guess, based on what I'm looking at here with his passing numbers, he's probably going to play at least 1 full quarter in the preseason. Maybe more than that.
I will say maximum 2 quarters in the preseason between the 3 games.
I agree with that. So once you take that out of the equation, my bet is that Jackson Dart's going to have the most overall snaps taken in preseason games. Because they know that in the regular season, he's not going to get a lot of work. They're going to want to get as much work for him as they can in the preseason. So my guess is that he's probably going to play 1.5 or 2 quarters each game. Maybe over the course of the 3 games, he'll play 5 quarters.
Well, let's see. There's 12 quarters available.
So we want to give 2 to Russ just to be.
I'm going to give 2 to Russ and bring it down to 10.
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to give 3 to Jameis Winston.
Okay, so you're down to 7.
Down to 7.
You give 5 to Dart, you're down to 2, and you give 2 to DeVito.
I'm going to say down to 7. I'm going to say DeVito gets 4 and Dart gets 3.
Really? I disagree. I think Dart is going to get at least 4, maybe 5, and he will lead all players in quarterback preseason snaps.
I'll tell you why.
Yeah, why? I'm curious.
I'll tell you why. Because I think, especially in the 3rd preseason game, when you play most of the guys who will not be on the team, I think subjecting Jackson Dart to those circumstances and giving him the bulk of the work in the 3rd preseason game could be counterproductive. And I think they also would like to give Tommy DeVito an opportunity at that point. He'll still be on the team. He'll still be looking for work.
That's interesting.
I suspect there is a great respect factor here. Brian Daboll thinks an awful lot of Tommy DeVito. And I think that given the situation that you don't want to put Dart in, you can also benefit Tommy by giving him more snaps in the 3rd preseason game.
All right, so how about I'm going to go 2-4-3-3. 2 for Wilson, 4 for Dart, 3 for Winston. You know what? I give back. I'm going to go 2 for Winston, 4 for DeVito. So you're going to have Dart and DeVito will both get 4.
Okay.
Because to your point, I see a world where DeVito could play 3 quarters in one of these games.
That's why.
And maybe get a DNP in another and then get 1 quarter in another one, something like that. I didn't think about that. They could just, mothball everybody and say, all right, Tommy, you're getting almost all the snaps here. I could see that. So I'm going to go.
That's what will happen in the Patriots game.
2-2-4-4. I'm going to go 2 for Wilson, 2 for Jameis, 4 for Dart, 4 for DeVito.
I don't think that's unreasonable.
We should write this down and see which one of us is right, Pearson.
But I think, it's a premature guess right now. I'd rather do the guess when we get closer to the first preseason game against Buffalo. But right now, if you ask me in a preliminary sense, I feel the way I do about Tommy DeVito just because I'm thinking kind of out of the box a little bit and trying to put my head in coach's head.
Yeah.
That may not be a smart thing to do as we get down to the preseason. Maybe it's clearly defined how he's going to do it, and maybe there won't be consideration like I've just given.
Pearson, are those YouTube comments from today? Okay, perfect. We'll get to those too as we move along. Great to have you guys giving those comments on YouTube, by the way. Really appreciate it. Let's go to Jason in New Haven. He'll be our second caller up today. I think we had all the Max questions, right? Those were his 2 questions, main ones? Yeah, we got them, right? Okay, let's go to Jason. What's going on?
Hey, Paul and John, how you guys are doing?
Hi, we're good.
Good. Thanks for taking the call. I know a few things. I had a question about one of the players I haven't heard brought up. I know, Paul, you had mentioned, I think the other day on the other news with Matt, you would potentially look for a veteran corner, depending on how things shake out at the end of camp. I don't want to put words in your mouth.
Yeah, specifically a slot. I was curious about the backup slot, which, as John had already discussed earlier in the program, in 2 days now, Nick Jones is starting to make some waves, but that would be the position that I'd be a little bit leery of.
Okay. One guy I wanted to ask you, and then I have a follow-up. One guy, you can make it quick or I can take it off the air. The Trey Hawkins, how has he been? He's been one of the guys that I don't really hear about. I know when he came out of college 2 years ago, he's really, really raw. And he had some great tools and traits. How has he been looking through camp? Just in your opinion, I'm not, asking if he's going to make the roster or anything. Just from a pure coverage standpoint, how has he been looking?
Appreciate the call, Jason. Good stuff. I think we've seen he's one of those guys that still have high highs and low lows, right? From what I've seen
today.
Yeah, and sometimes he'll get beat or he'll commit a defensive pass interference penalty. Other times he'll make a really good play. So I think you're looking for that consistency to even out. I think he has as good of a chance as any to earn that 5th. We talked about this with Lance and I on Tuesday when we nerded out on our training camp battles. We're like, well, who's the 5th cornerback going to be? But it's a real thing.
You got to have one.
You need 5 cornerbacks.
Yes.
Is he going to be able to fight his way on as the 5th guy? I think he has a chance to do that, giving his physical tools.
I don't think he has slot flexibility.
No, I don't either.
So that's one thing that would work against him Because right now, I see the Giants having guys who could back up on the boundary, but there's no one established behind Drew Phillips. If Drew Phillips goes down today, John, I can't feel comfortable about that spot.
Let's go to Bobby in Freehold. He's up next on Big Blue Kickoff Live. Bobby, what's up?
Can you hear me, brothers?
Loud and clear, dude. What do you got?
Sir.
Let me tell you this, okay? This is an honor and a pleasure to hear from you guys, because I'm always listening to you guys. But today I was compelled. 3 things. A, and this is directed to your partner. He showed me some class today that this is going to be on my mind for a long time. He stopped and took a picture with me. Do you remember that, brother Paul?
Yes, sir. You're very welcome.
Yeah, you took a picture of me, and that was very class, because it reminds me of last year at the anniversary. I like cornerbacks. See, I've been a Giant since 1961, so me and you, we know a thing or two, especially with Green Bay, and I did cry in '63 with YA to
Okay. I didn't see YA play live.
Yeah, that was a great championship. I cried because of my man who had those 2 quarterback sneaks. You remember that?
Yes, sir.
And I think he threw 5 interceptions. But getting back last year, another class individual, because I like cornerbacks, Corey Webster. He was walking by us and getting ready to go to the building. I yelled out, Corey. He turned around and came back and took a photo with me. That's number 1.
He's a good
now,
man.
Corey Webster, number 2. I only wanted to ask Corey Webster one question. Corey, I had the pleasure of meeting and speaking to a cornerback by the name of Spider Lockhart. I know you know him, and he was a class person. And so at the anniversary, I said, if we got my man Brandon London, who's a class person, you know why I like him? Because when he interviews people, he is always asking the right question, and he's not afraid, and he's class too. So I had the pleasure of meeting 3 classes. And when I was here today, I was asking, hey, Paul, this was funny. I said, where's Matt? So you probably didn't get that one, and to move on. So that was so much fun. But here's another reason I want to ask you this question.
Go ahead.
Yes.
Okay, here's the question. I'm gonna let you go. You can answer me.
Yeah.
1961 to the present.
Yeah.
Is there any similarities to any of those teams? Now, this may be an abstract question or critical, but is there any teams that you know that are similar? I'm not going to say they are like, they have a certain connection, but any team that you know that looks similar to this present team. Now, I know it's on paper, but do you think that there are kind of similarities? Like I said, maybe an abstract question, but I think it's probably critical for a lot of us that would like to know. And God bless you guys.
Thanks,
guys are
Bobby.
doing a fabulous job. Continue. Thank you.
Thank you for calling in and saying hi.
And come visit camp again.
Paul loves taking. By the way, if you see Paul, he loves taking pictures of people all day, kissing babies, shaking hands.
Oh boy, it's always good to meet the fans. But to answer the question, the 1981 Giants, with Ray Perkins, had a terrific defense. Harry Carson was on that team. Lawrence Taylor had just been drafted as a rookie. Now, why am I going to make the 81 comparison? Because they had so many talented players on that team. George Martin, you guys will remember very well, I'm sure. The point being, that defense had a lot of impact players and guys who could really bring it. Beasley Reese was at safety. Mark Haynes was playing cornerback. He was a Pro Bowl player. They relied on their defense. The offense was somewhat muted, John. Scott Brunner was the quarterback who wound up, leading the Giants into the playoffs that year. They were not a dynamic offense. They were not. They made the midseason trade for Rob Carpenter from the Houston Oilers, and he gave them the semblance of a running game, and it was not a great offensive line. So if you want to give me a question about a comparison, I'll say we all knew that defense was good. We think this defense is really good. and they're going to have to drag the offense if they're going to make the playoffs. That's what I'm going to give you.
Okay, I'm going to go a different angle. I'm going to go the 2004 Giants. You're coming off a very bad season.
The Eli team.
You sign a veteran, former Super Bowl champion quarterback in the offseason. Mm-hmm. Then it was Kurt Warner. Now it's Russell Wilson. You draft a quarterback in the first round. Now, I am not comparing Jackson Dart to Eli Manning. One was picked at the back end of the first. The other one was picked in the top 5. Very different. I get that.
And you trade. Well, you did trade for both of them, though.
You
ironically.
Did. Very true. You did. But, again, I'm not making that comparison per se. I think that's unfair to Jackson. But you're coming off a bad year. The difference is that was a new coach that year. The Giants do not have a new coach this year, so that makes it a little bit different.
Yeah.
So that is a key difference. You're never going to be perfect with comparisons like this.
That defense in 2004 was not as talented as this.
No, that's true too. I'm looking at more from the quarterback situation and trying to figure that out. So that's and again, I don't remember the Giants like from the I was born in 81, so like anything pre-95, I don't have like a huge great detailed memory of that sort of thing. The other year I would look at, and let me see if I can bring this up. Where is the franchise index here on Pro Football Reference? Here we go.
You want to bring up the 97 team when they won the NFC East when nobody expected them to, and they came out of nowhere and won the division with Danny Cannell at quarterback?
No,
you don't want to bring that one up. Okay,
I was not going to go there.
All right. Well,
I was thinking maybe the 1994 team. Because you had Dave Brown come in as a supplemental first-round pick. You're bringing him in. Dan Reeves was back for another year, so it wasn't a new coach. Mm-hmm. There wasn't really a veteran quarterback on that team, though, right? That Brown took that job from.
No, but here's the thing. In 93, they made the playoffs.
That's why it's different. Correct.
No, and then in 94, they're coming off a playoff team, and we thought that things were going to be better, and then they weren't.
97's not bad. Cannell wasn't a rookie that year, though, right?
Danny...
Second year?
Danny was, I think he was.
When was Danny Cannell drafted? Let me see.
You know what? My memory's a little fuzzy now.
No, Danny Cannell was 4th round in 96. So 96. That was his second year.
I apologize.
No, it's fine.
But Danny got them that NFC East Division title when nobody in their right mind thought the Giants were going to be very good. Yeah. And yet they wound up going right up to the top of the division.
I still like my 2004. I'll stick with that.
That's okay.
And I like your 81 too. That's also pretty good.
There are some different similarities when you go through these. It's a very interesting question. I appreciate the call.
What was Parcells' first year?
83. My first year.
Got it. Okay. Interesting.
Bill doesn't like to admit that, though.
Well, no one wants to be put together with you.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't want that.
A couple YouTube comments real quick. RoseTap87, how's the kicking game looking? They have not kicked field goals yet.
Zippo.
So not a one. So RoseTap, don't know. Can't tell you. No clue. And in fact, have they even punted yet? They haven't caught punts yet, right?
No.
So I think they're probably working the specialists in slowly. My guess is that we'll have some of that tomorrow's practice, but we have not seen anything from the kickers
I will offer this a little bit unsolicited. During the offseason, McAtamney has been working his butt off.
Hey, look, he's got all the tools. He just has to be more consistent kicking.
Cannon of a leg.
That's all he has to be able to do.
I mean, just absolutely booms the football.
I say that's all he has to do. That's also the most difficult and most important part of the position.
Yes.
So it's kind of important, and it's not easy. But look, he has all the other tools. So.
I'm anxious to see how much more accuracy he will have developed through all the work that he has done. Because much like Jeff Eagles used to tell us about Aldrich Rosas, you hear the ball pop off his foot.
Absolutely. Rosas, that guy had a cannon, man. Well, he was like 6'5", like 232.
Well, he was a linebacker.
Gigantic player.
Linebacker physique.
Right.
McAtamney does not have that physique, but he pops the ball nonetheless.
By the way, guys, go check out the John Soto podcast, brought to you by Citizens. Is Connor Orr up there? So Connor Orr, we mentioned this on last week's show. He did a great cover piece for Sports Illustrated on Russell Wilson.
We talked about that last week.
Done one with Russ a few years ago. It's just kind of like a follow-up to it.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And I did like a 25-minute interview with him about the interview with Russ, where he is, where he's at. Off the field stuff, the interview. It was a really good interview. And Connor used to cover the Giants back in the day. Mm-hmm. In fact, he came on, I believe he told me in 2012 when everything started. 2012 was an okay year. They went over 500, so he didn't quite bring the mayhem with him, but close enough. He just missed the Super Bowl, so we did reminisce a little bit on that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And he was there for some of the fun Beckham stuff. But we had a great conversation about Russell Wilson. We did a little NFL season preview with him, too. So check that out on the Giants Huddle podcast, Giants.com, Giants app. Search for it on your favorite podcast platform. All right, let's go to Marcus in Arizona. He's up next. Hey, Marcus.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
We're good, man. What do you got?
Nothing, man. That guy stole my question about the snaps for Dart in the preseason. So since I'm out here in travel nursing in Oxnard, California, actually by the Dallas training camp, which game should I go to at the beginning of the season? I'm torn between the Cowboys week 2 and Saints week 5.
So you want to go to a road game? You want to go to a road game?
Do you live in California, or is this just a vacation?
Last year, the Thursday night football to MetLife, it was my first time to New York, so I want to do a quick turnaround trip, probably go to Jerry's World.
You live in Arizona, or you live in California?
Well, when I called, I was from Arizona, but I'm recently in transitioning, moving to California right now. So
look, they play
the Raiders.
Now they play
Vegas.
Yeah, Marcus, this is what I'll say. They play Dallas every year. So I would say
I'm going to that game already for my bachelor party. I told you guys that last time. That's my bachelor party weekend.
Perfect. So if you're going to that,
go to a game before if everything goes bad and we're like 2-10, I don't want to go to a game.
No, I got you. So yeah, I would say since you can go to Jerry's World every year because the Giants are there every year, I would skip that this year. Since you're on the West Coast, Marcus, the Giants do play the AFC West, so Denver. I would say Denver or Vegas. Yeah. The Giants do not go out there very often. It'll probably be your only chance to see those two stadiums. And they're very different experiences. The Las Vegas Stadium is honestly really cool. And it's very...
Yeah, and I'm already going to that, though. I'm already going to that game, so I want to go to another game.
So go to Denver.
I'm sorry. I thought you said you were doing the last game of the year against Dallas as your bachelor party. I'm sorry. So you're going to Vegas?
No, I'm thinking about going to Jerry's World Week 2.
Yeah, honestly, since you can go to Dallas any year, I would go to Denver. It's an outdoor stadium. Okay. The weather's still going to be good on October 19th. You're not going to get frozen out of that place. The fans are electric.
It is.
And I don't think they're going to be mean and make your experience miserable. And, dead Broncos, Giants, I don't think people are thinking about the 86 Super Bowl much. There's no animosity there. So I would, and Denver, and if you've never been, Denver and Colorado Springs and stuff like that, which is right near there, it's lovely to visit. It's beautiful. It's a fun city. I would, since they're going out west this year multiple times and you can go to Dallas any other year, I would go to Denver this year. I think that would be your best bet.
I might also add the sight lines in that stadium are really good.
They are.
It's a nice
great
stadium.
Building. Okay. Sounds good. I'll talk to the wife about it. And I could see us winning 8 games this year and hopefully sneak in 1 or 2 more. So I have faith. Let's go Giants.
Awesome. Thank you, Marcus. Yeah, I would do Denver. Denver's, and that's the one, I think that's the one road game I'm going to travel to this year, too. I have a friend out there I'm going to visit.
Oh, how about that?
Along with working the game. Yeah, Denver's a fun town. And look, going to New Orleans is never a bad idea either. Fun city. It's not Paul's favorite city, but it's a fun city.
You've heard the story about the vampire.
He met a vampire down there.
You never heard the story about the vampire.
How could you not know this? It's not a real vampire.
You told it 2 weeks ago, right?
Yeah, I don't think I was on the show.
No.
Was I with Matt? Or
yeah,
was
you were with
I was
Matt.
with Matt?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not the vampire story.
No, I was, we were down there. I forget what year it was. It was Halloween weekend. And I did my power walk down Beale Street, right? That's the main street? No, not Beale Street. Bourbon Street. I did the main walk down Bourbon Street.
Well, that was your first mistake. Okay.
Well, it was a terrible mistake. Terrible mistake because
Bourbon Street is not where Paul Dottino should be.
It was absolutely jammed beyond belief, and a guy who was extremely pale and dressed in a long black trench coat came up to me and he said, "Hi, I'm a vampire. Would you like to feel my pulse?" And he came up to me and I was like, "No, I'm sorry. Obviously, you must be dead." And I tried to walk away from him, and he, of course, tried to track me down a few.
That was his first mistake.
Very bad mistake. And he asked me again. And I just said, "Hey, man, I'm sorry for you." And I just kept going.
Well, here's my question.
And I got away from him.
Was it the evening or was it the daytime?
No, actually, it was in the early evening where it still was around dinner time.
Could you see the sun?
barely. It was still a little light.
See, now what
light enough that it wasn't pitch black dark out.
Here's my point, though. Are you familiar with vampires?
Well, you're telling me I should have said to him to go back in your coffin.
No, yeah, you should say, if you were a vampire, you would be bursting into flames right now because the sun is still out.
Right. Well, I can't say this. It was sunlight, but there was enough of a little bit of light at the dusk.
I understand. I feel like the vampires can't be out of dusk time, right? I feel like if it's dusk.
just carry garlic around with you next time.
Yeah.
And you have plenty of it as an Italian.
I understand. I wasn't prepared for a vampire. I didn't expect to see one. I mean, holy smokes. We're not
I've never heard that story.
We're not talking about a Sleestack from the land of the lost.
Sleestack?
Okay? We're talking about a vampire.
Growing up, we had a friend that we nicknamed Sleestack.
Okay.
It was not.
I mean,
as you might imagine, it was not complimentary.
And by the way, vampire or not, this dude was weird. I mean,
well, yeah, I would imagine.
He was really weird.
And for Paul to call somebody weird is certainly saying something. All right, next YouTube comment. I'm going to try to bounce back and forth here, Pearson.
Sorry.
Frank, no, you're okay. Frank Matos, which tight end has looked the best the past 2 days? As a receiver, I mean, all we have to judge on is as a receiver. I mean, Fedoni probably made the best individual catch.
Right. I agree.
But I think Dulcich probably overall has probably been the most dynamic as a receiver.
I would concur with that as well, but they've all done everything they've been asked to do.
Yeah,
every guy has made plays.
They've all been good. I agree with that 100%. All right, back to the calls. Andrew in Virginia wants to talk about Joe Shane. Andrew, what's up?
Hey, John. Hey, Paul. How's it going?
Hi. What's up?
It's Angel. I know I say kind of fast, so I guess they got to...
I'm sorry, Angel.
It's okay,
and your line's kind of popping in and out a little bit, so go ahead.
I'm a first-time caller, so I appreciate you guys taking the call. I just kind of wanted to talk about the safety position in Kayvon Wallace. That addition, I think, to me, is one of the smartest additions, like at this time of the year when everything is all pretty much set as far as bringing people in and then getting these guys on the field to get, some good practice time. But I just kind of wanted to, break that down a little bit. Was it because they don't really trust in Dane Belton, or is it purely depth behind Dane Belton, or is it kind of like a favorite thing for Bowen, just a familiarity with the Eagles and the time in Tennessee that they spent together and all that good stuff, or was there somebody that was hurt, or they're not really sure? Because there's a lot of stuff that I read on the internet as far as somebody got injured, so they're bringing in Kayvon Wallace. By the way,
it's a good question.
Fan. I saw this guy play, and he's a monster. He's a ball hawk. I love his play. He's fantastic. But, I really think it's a great pickup. But I just kind of wanted to get your guys' opinion on that and whether or not it was an injury thing or it's just strictly depth.
Yeah, absolutely, Angel. Look, they aren't going to answer that question publicly, but we can surmise as best we can. And Angel, appreciate the call. Thanks for being a first-timer. We appreciate that. I would say they have faith in Belton as their third safety. He had a pretty good spring. Mm-hmm. But they really, again, much like the fifth cornerback spot, the fourth safety spot is wide open. Mm-hmm. And you also talked about having a backup slot. Well, what if Kayvon Wallace is your fourth safety and also your backup slot player?
That would be very helpful.
And he checks both boxes. Then you could keep Hawkins as your fifth corner. You cover your backup slot. You get another outside corner to boot. Flot's now your emergency third slot guy. That's not a bad place to be in.
Yeah, I would also add that last year with Seattle, Wallace played 9 games and had 5 special teams tackles in only 9 games, which tells you something about his coverage ability on special teams. Now, I'm not going to automatically grant him a roster spot on the 53.
No.
But if he makes it, chances are he's going to play special teams.
And I'll throw in, I don't think his experience in Philadelphia, and he knows Philly, I don't think that has anything to do with it.
No.
They have a new coordinator.
I don't think so
because
either.
he wasn't there with Vic Fangio. He was there before Fangio got there, so I'll throw that out. But look, his familiarity and Shane Bowen understanding the type of player and person that he is, that he thinks he's a fit for what they do here, that's always a good thing. And coaches like to find players that they know what they're getting with that player, and the Giants certainly know what they're getting with Wallace because of what he did. And he started double-digit games with Shane Bowen in Tennessee, if I remember correctly. So, yeah, obviously that doesn't hurt.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's got like 2 career interceptions over like 6 years in the league or 5 years in the league. So it's not like he's a great ball hawk or he's made a lot of splash plays. But I'm with John on this. I'm going to go with the Bowen familiarity, and then I'm also going to go with the special teams production. I think those are the 2 reasons. And I believe Anthony Johnson, who was waived injured, I believe he had a bruised shoulder. There was an injury involved there. And so, that's always going to be a very costly thing to a player at this time of the year.
All right, let's go back to the phones at 201-939-4513, and then we'll get to a couple more YouTube comments as well. Ron in New Jersey, he's up next. Hey, Ron.
Hey, guys. Thanks for the Denver idea. I might follow up on that.
Nah, dude, I'm telling you, Denver is a fun place to watch a football game. That stadium gets loud. The fans are into it. The weather is lovely. It's a fun city.
What
Denver's
month
great.
is it?
It's October 19th, so it should still be nice.
All right, I'm a season ticket holder, so I'm in the home game.
Well, one piece of warning there, and that is the Broncos fans, you're not going to see many empty seats.
That is true.
Okay, good.
They will be out there and fill it up.
Okay, good to know. All right, I just have a fun question following up sort of on your show the other day with Lance. What surprise player, offense, defense side of the ball, would actually make the starting rotation for each team? And I'll take that off the air.
Surprise starter for the Giants this year. That's interesting. I guess my first question would be, what do you consider a surprise? Because there are guys that maybe wouldn't surprise you, but you would be, they're not expected to be the starter. So would any non-expected starter be considered a surprise? I mean,
can I just throw out, I don't think, again, I may have this perception wrong, but I think the public perception, the fan perception for months has been given up on Evan Neal. So if Evan Neal wins a starting guard job, I think a lot of people would be surprised by definition because they had given up on him already.
Okay, if you want to count that as a surprise, I think that is probably one of the more likely ones. I agree with that. I mean, I'd be shocked if Theo Johnson's not the starting tight end.
Mm-hmm.
I guess, what do you consider a starter? Would it shock me if Jalen Hyatt's on the field for the first snap of the first game? But Wanda Robinson told him and split the snaps evenly. Would that shock me? No, it wouldn't shock me.
Well, they could go 4 wide. Maybe he go 4 wide on the first play.
That's possible.
Who knows? I'll give you another name on defense.
Would Roy Robertson Harris be a surprise?
Bingo. That's my name on defense.
That's not a surprise to me, though.
You and I understand when they signed him, they have some expectation for him.
Yeah.
But a lot of folks who probably don't know him very well
all right, that's fair.
think that Nacho is an incumbent and they think of him as a starter. So I think you could qualify Robertson Harris as a surprise to some people.
I agree. And I think that would be my second one. I guess my third one would be Cordell Flott, just because that's an open competition. And people expect Banks to win that job. But when it's a competition, you never know. I think right now Banks has the upper hand. But I guess those would be the 3 guys that I would list. I don't know. I mean, I don't see anyone eking out over Okereke, McFadden, Paul.
No.
We talked about the edge guys. The safety starters aren't changing. Adebo's going to be a starter. I mean, yeah, maybe
there's nowhere
a
else.
running back, maybe. But, I mean, I'd be very surprised if Tracy doesn't, play snap 1 week 1.
I'll give you one other one out of the box if you really want another desperate name. I have no idea who the punt returner is going to be right now. I think Smith Morset will be the kickoff returner.
You don't think he's going to be a punt returner too?
I don't know that.
I think he is. I think if you're keeping him, I think he's got to do both.
Well, you know what? I hope so because I like him.
Yeah,
I think he's really good.
If you're keeping him to be a returner, I think you need to get the most out of him. I think he needs to be both for you, right?
I would agree that that's the perfect way to go because you save a roster spot by having him do both. But right now, from watching practice when they were using the jugs machine to just throw up punts, they have not solidified that yet.
All right, see if you can steal one more YouTube comment off there, Pearson, if you can. David Thomas, not the creator of Wendy's, with legitimate quarterback play. Do you think maybe it is? Who knows? Okay. Do you think Malik Neighbors? I don't think that guy's alive anymore. With legitimate quarterback play, do you think Malik Neighbors can be one of the best receivers in the league this year? He was one of the best receivers in the league last year. To Paul's point, he's made this many times, and I think he makes a good one. That Chris Jones is not happy on TV right now. No, that's number 90. I don't think that's Chris Jones.
It's an old game anyway, John.
Yeah, I know. I understand.
Just like
that he was very unhappy. I mean, you want to get his yards per catch higher, and I think with Russell Wilson it certainly will be. But no, like if you told me if at the end of the year Malik Neighbors is top 5 in the NFL in receptions and receiving yards, would that surprise me? No, absolutely not. Because Brian Dable, if there's one thing he's good at, Paul, it's getting the ball to the players he wants to get the ball. So they will get Malik Neighbors the football.
And again, I know we talk about the watered-down value of Pro Bowl, but he was a Pro Bowl alternate and then got elevated and made the Pro Bowl skills game. So doesn't that automatically qualify you as one of the top receivers in the league?
I agree. All right, let's go to James McKnight. Could Kayvon Thibodeau play defensive tackle in a NASCAR package? It's a good question.
I don't see
Given
it.
his power, I would put him inside before I would put Burns inside myself. But I think your 3-technique defensive tackle in a NASCAR package is Chauncey Golston.
Or Armstrong. Could be Darius Armstrong if they feel he's developed
Alexander.
enough. Alexander. Did I say Armstrong?
I said Armstrong. I'm thinking, I'm like...
Why am I saying Armstrong?
No, what I'm saying, I'm like, did I... Like Dorrance Armstrong, were you thinking about maybe from
Do you
the
know why?
Commanders?
I think I've done that at least 2 or 3 times in the last 2 weeks.
It's funny. I have not heard you do that. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, did I forget somebody on the roster? I'm like panicking. I'm like, I know I was on vacation for like 3 weeks, but I don't think I forgot.
It's definitely Darius.
Yes.
That much I always get.
That you got.
I think I do confuse him with the Cowboys lineman. But I think
now
Alexander...
Commanders lineman.
Yes, that's correct. I think Alexander, certainly, if he develops quickly enough, he could wind up being the 3-technique defensive tackle. But Golston certainly has that capability as well. Honestly, Thibodeau just told us today at his very brief presser, because he didn't have a lot to say, that he worked on wrestling moves and worked on losing a little bit of weight to enhance his speed, which was quite interesting after he told you a month ago he had worked on his power. He's also apparently done some speed stuff.
Remember, he said that it all starts with the speed, though, in the interview.
Yeah.
Like, you need to work the power off the speed.
So no, I would... Look, I don't like him with his hand in the dirt anyway. So to me, that's absolutely a no-no. I'm not putting him down inside.
To me, my ideal pass rush package this year would probably be 5 men. And it would be Dexter and Golston inside, Burns and Thibodeau off the edge, and Abdul Carter as your stand-up joker that's going to do all the looping and slashing and that sort of thing.
That would be one of my formations. I'd have a few, but that'd be one of them.
If you want to go, let me put it this way. 4-man front, Paul. What's your ideal set? 4 guys rushing the passer.
4 down? Or
if you have 4 guys rushing the passer, who are your best 4 in a 4? You're only rushing 4 guys. I don't care how you line them up. You're only rushing 4 guys. How are you, and you want to get to the quarterback but play coverage on a 3rd and 10. What 4 guys are you putting out there to rush the quarterback?
If I can only put 4, I'm going to put Dexter Lawrence with his hand down, and I'm going to stand up Carter, Thibodeau, and Burns.
Stand up all 3?
All 3 are standing up, and Dexter's my only guy down.
I like it.
That's one of my many permutations that I would throw out there.
If I could only do 4, I would probably put Carter and Burns outside and have Thibodeau and Dex run like a twist. Have Dex come around, try to set the pick, like go have the TT twist, have Dex go first, try to screen off the guard, and have Thibodeau loop around, and then have Burns and Thibodeau win with speed on the outside, have those 2 guys run a game inside, and that would probably be my ideal format.
Well, if you're going to run a stunt, you absolutely want Dexter to be the lead guy in the stunt because you're not going to expect him to come around and loop. Correct. That's asking too much of him. He's a big man and very athletic, but come on. That's asking a lot.
All right, we got another good question here. You guys are great on YouTube. We really appreciate it. I'm so happy we decided to stream there. It was really an excellent idea by the folks upstairs. Greg Haller, over or under 50 sacks this year. Last year, the Giants, just so everyone has the number,
44?
I think it was 46.
46?
Pearson had, yeah.
Mid-40s, I knew that.
It was 45.
45,
The Giants
so right in
finished
the middle.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9th in the league with 45 sacks. Only 3 NFL teams finished with more than 50 sacks last year. The Cowboys, Ravens, and Broncos. And 2 teams finished with 49, the Texans and the Vikings. So over under 50 sacks, I'm going to go just under, only because I don't know what the game flow is going to be like in a lot of these games. If this offense is better, than what we think it's going to be and what the general, I shouldn't say that, whatever the general perception thinks it's going to be, and they play with some more leads and closer games, I think it'll be over. But, I'll say they'll finish in that 49 area, just where the Texans and Vikings did last year.
Yeah, it really comes down to, last year these teams were able to play with leads basically nonstop. And that really hurt the Giants' chances. And consider how many sacks they got for the amount of time they were behind on the scoreboard.
Now, here's the thing.
That was pretty crazy.
It was. But I remember a lot of those sacks, though, came in the first half of the year when they were closer in games.
They did.
They got much fewer sacks when they played poor.
They started dropping in the sack rankings.
Yeah, they were first, like almost halfway through midseason, if I'm not mistaken.
So, do I think they could touch 50? Yeah,
they can do.
I think they could. But again, they're going to have to be in many more competitive games.
The other problem with the 50 sack number, you like to pinpoint some games where you can rack up the sacks against bad lines and quarterbacks.
Yeah, the teams they're playing are really good.
Jaden Daniels, good luck chasing him down.
Yeah.
I don't think he's great versus pressure, but he's just so elusive. Whatever. Dak Prescott gets rid of the ball quick. He's a savvy veteran.
You're not getting Mahomes a lot.
You're not getting Justin Herbert a lot either.
No, you're not.
So you're looking at the Saints in Week 5. They have an open competition at quarterback. Who knows who's it going to be? It could
Put
be
me down for 9 that week, John. How about 9?
If you want to get to 50, you better be in that 6 to 8 area. No, I'm serious. You better be in that area. Then you get the Eagles. Jalen Hurts will hold the ball.
Yes.
The problem is that their offensive line is literally the best in the league.
Yeah.
So that's
and
a
they
problem.
can run it with Barkley. So.
Bo Nix is, the Broncos, I think, allowed the fewest sacks in football last year. They have a really good offensive line,
good.
And Bo Nix is an athlete too, so he can move around a little bit.
And while you go there, go right to the Lions, who also have a really good line a few weeks later.
They lost their center, though, Frank Ragnow.
Still pretty good.
Yeah, I agree.
And Goff is no fool.
No, I know. You got the Niners. Kyle Shanahan knows how to protect his quarterback.
Yeah.
Packers, Jordan Love doesn't take any sacks. He gets rid of the ball or he scrambles. The Bears, with Caleb Williams, will take some sacks. Can you rack up some sacks that week to kind of give you 5+ in that game? I don't know where Caleb Williams is going to be in Ben Johnson's offense at that point. Drake May's extremely elusive with the Patriots. He's tough to bring down. And then at the end of the year, again, you got Jaden Daniels again. The Vikings with J.J. McCarthy, they have a good line. I don't know what McCarthy's going to be, so it's hard to say. Was that your picture with the fan that called in right there?
No, this was a different fan.
Oh, different fan. See,
I just happened to catch it.
Paul takes many pictures. The Raiders, Geno Smith. But look, this is not a schedule with a bunch of bad quarterbacks that are going to take a bunch of sacks, Paul. So that could depress that number a little bit too, which is why I'll go under the 50 on.
Yeah, I do concur with you there, John. So many factors that are going to play into that number. In all likelihood, they could have 48, right? Just have a couple more than what they just had last year. And they may still be grading out as an outstanding defense and have a really nice record. They don't need 50 sacks to be good.
Yes. All right, we got 3 final questions here. We'll go 3 more minutes since we started at 05. We'll go to 05 so we get the full hour in. We'll rapid fire through these. Jason C. from YouTube, what kind of power run game could they have with Cam Scatterbo? Paul, I'll let you take that.
Well, look, I've already talked about the short yardage and the goal line stuff. Provided they can get some type of symmetry with the 5 guys they want up front, and we assume that they'll have an extra lineman as a blocker, or for that matter, Manhurts maybe makes the team and he winds up helping out up front too. You give Scatterbo any kind of crease at all. He's got the power to push the pile. He's got the power to make cuts. I can't tell you how, you guys know if you've listened to this show, how desperate I was to get a power back in the draft. They got one. I think they got the right guy.
Not your traditional 235-pound power back, though. It's it's a power back in a little bit of different package, which is fun.
It is a different package.
No,
absolutely.
Bradshaw was a bit of he kind of played like a power back, but he wasn't big.
Yes. He had some of that in him.
Scatterbo has some of Bradshaw in him with the way he plays.
He's got some of Bradshaw in him, and he's got some Brandon Jacobs in him, even though he's not the same frame.
Correct. Not close to the same frame.
No.
All right. Blaine Toby is next. Can't wait to see a package with Scatterbo and Tracy. How often could you see that happening? The Giants did use some of that, what they call pony personnel, which is 2 running backs, last year with Singletary and Tracy. The year before as well. They used to have Barkley on the field with, who was the running back they put him on the field with on some of those plays? Where they fake jet sweep it, they'd fake it to him, and then they'd do the, oh gosh, who was here before Singletary? He was another veteran back. Oh, I can't place it.
Wasn't Penny?
Elijah Penny? No, he was a fullback.
Oh, right.
He was a fullback.
Oh, that would have been the 2023 Giants, right?
Oh, my goodness. Look it up, John. Just look it up. My mind is fried right now.
And they use it in the 2022 playoff year, too. They had that as well. So let me see if I can bring this up real quick. In the meantime, let me look that up. But yeah, I do think they will find ways to do that, especially
Breda?
with their Matt Breda. Thank you. That's who it was.
Bingo.
It was feedback, Matt Breda. That's exactly what it was, Pearson. Thank you.
YouTube comments.
Boy,
oh, good job, YouTube. Thank you very much.
He fell right off the face of the earth.
Yeah, these speedbacks decline fast.
Good guy, too, by the way.
Oh, awesome guy. Love Matt. But yeah, that was the guy.
What I will say, folks, is that I don't think you're going to see much of the old split-back pro set that you used to see back in the 70s.
No,
I don't think you're going to see that at all.
I don't think that's what he was asking for.
No,
just I don't think
to clarify.
For the old pro set. I don't think that's what he was looking for. Jeez, Paul, you're funny.
Well,
I know. You're still funny.
I grew up listening to Marty Glickman talking about the pro set on the radio.
You also were there when Moses came down with the tablet, so that doesn't mean that,
Okay. Well, when I think two backs, though, that's the first thing that comes to mind.
All right, let's go. Skolid wants to know, thinking optimistically, if Russ has a revitalizing season like 2008 Kurt Warner, do we resign him? I'm talking like 3,500 yards and 30-plus touchdowns.
We had this conversation with Matt the other day, and really it comes down to if Wilson has a really spectacular season, right? He's only on a one-year contract. He's going to want to get paid, John. It's going to be very hard to reward him with a second year at the kind of price he probably would command if he has that kind of season.
Well, here's the question.
So it's unlikely.
If he hits free agency, let's game theory this out here, much to Pearson's chagrin. If he hits free agency as a free agent, remember, in order to demand a lot of money, you have to be getting another offer for big money from another team.
Right.
Is there another team that would pay him big money in his age 38 year?
If he throws for 3,500 yards and 30 touchdowns, there'll be somebody out there who'll cut him a check. And it'll be a pretty sizable
How
one.
big?
Oh,
will he get more than 20?
I think so.
Okay.
For those kinds of numbers? Yeah. Because if he
I don't think he's going over 25, though.
It might wind up being 24, 25. But if he does that, and the Giants are a winning team, because if
the Giants make the playoffs, Malik Neighbors leads the league in receiving yards, and the Giants' offense is the best offense that they've had since 2013.
I mean,
can you let him walk?
Look,
I understand they set this whole thing up to have a rookie quarterback, so you don't spend a lot of money on him. I get all that. I guess you still have to, but I tell you what, that is a tough decision to make.
My theory was before the draft, right? When they signed Russell Wilson, I had said all along, don't necessarily think it's a one-year deal. It is a one-year deal. But if they don't get the first-round quarterback, you know how I felt about that.
Russell has said this, by the way. He would like to be here long-term.
Correct.
He would like to not have this be a one-year stop.
So my thought before the draft was Wilson could prove himself that he's got the gas left in his tank, does well, and does get re-signed to stay for at least one more year.
By the way, I think
I've always thought that was possible. But then they went and they made the trade to go get Dart in the first round. Now I say to myself, how high are they going to be willing to go if Dart shows them anything in the developmental process?
Well, that's the question.
How much money would you spend to keep Wilson?
We're not going to know what they've seen from Dart.
No, we won't.
Do they think he's ready to play or not? Theoretically, if Russell Wilson's throwing for 3,500 yards and 30 touchdowns, Jackson Dart might not take a snap this year.
Oh, we've talked about that too. It could be a redshirt year for Dart, which I favor anyway.
I think given the schedule, and we talked about this, I mentioned this earlier in the week, the Giants play the second hardest pass defense schedule in the league, third toughest defense overall. So I think if he can come up with those numbers, it would be extremely impressive.
It would be very impressive.
So, look, I hesitate to look ahead and make a comment on that now. But for me, I would say I'd be surprised if he was here next year. But if he has those numbers, I would not rule anything out.
No, I would not rule it out either. But I do believe if Wilson has a spectacular season, there will be somebody out there, much like when Kurt Warner had played fairly well for the Giants and then executed his opt-out and then signed with the Cardinals.
The Cardinals didn't pay him a lot of money, though.
Well,
that was a pretty cheap contract, if I remember right.
It was at the time. You're correct. It was not a huge deal, but he wound up playing with the Cards for 4 years and eventually led him to the Super Bowl.
So that would have been 2005 offseason, right?
Yeah, I don't know where his contract at that time ranked among quarterbacks at that time, which is the key number.
He signed a 1-year, $4 million deal.
Yeah, I don't know what at the time where that was.
Not top,
it was not top
20.
No,
top 10, top 15.
But Warner also did not have a 30 touchdown, 3,500 yard season.
After that 1 year where he played really well, he signed a 3-year, $18 million contract.
Yeah.
And again, I don't know. I don't have the quarterback salary rankings in front of me for that year, but I doubt that was even top 10.
The point is, Russ signed the 1-year deal here to resuscitate his career with the hope at the very minimum that he finds a starting job in 2026 and continues his career. Whether it's here or somewhere else, I think money is going to dictate that. I just suspect that there's a chance that someone would flirt with him if he has a superstar season. That's all I'm saying.
No, and I don't necessarily disagree with that. Paul, good stuff, my friend.
Yeah, another fun day.
Yep. We're in our podcast studio presented by Hackensack Meridian Health. Keep getting better. That's all we have on Big Blue Kickoff Live, presented by Cadillac, the official luxury vehicle of the Giants. We'll be back tomorrow again at 2 o'clock for more Giants talk right here on Giants.com, the Giants mobile app. And if you're listening on the archive, podcast platforms everywhere. For Paul Dottino, I'm John Schmeelk. You like what you hear? You're excited about the Giants? Giants.com/tickets. Get your individual games. Get your season tickets. Become a season ticket member. Go check that out. Until next time, we'll see you then.